Hello and welcome to the engineering design process. This is a little review of all the steps, one at a time. In the following few slides, we will see the steps in the engineering design process and how they have been applied by the Wright brothers, inventors of the first airplane. I really like this idea. I think I might do more engineers in the future. Our first step in the engineering design process is define the problem. Define the problem means you decide exactly what issue you want to address. It could be as simple as removing a stain or as complex as reducing global warming. When you're doing this, you want to know who needs what, because why. It's important to remember all three of those. The Wright brothers, they went ahead and they wanted to answer the question of flight. How can we make a flying vehicle? However, not specifically just that. They wanted to define it. So some things that they wanted to define were they wanted their invention to solve the problem of being heavier than air. So rock is heavier than air. A balloon with helium is not. They wanted it to be powered by something inside the plane itself. They wanted it to be steerable, which was really a difficulty for that time. They wanted to carry a pilot, so there had to be somebody in there. It couldn't just be a drone. And then they wanted it to sustain flight. So unlike a glider, which has sustained flight until it hits the ground, they wanted it to answer all 5 of these issues. Now, individually, different inventors had built things that solved one or more of these, but not something that had solved all 5. And if you want to see more about this, there's a slide at the end of this slideshow with a video by a very talented person who discusses how the Wright brothers solved these 5 problems. All right, but back to the engineering design process. Step 2, do your research. Doing research is a critical step in the engineering design process. It allows you to learn from hundreds of others' experiences rather than trying to discover everything on your own. Here are some things you want to look at. In this step, you want to look for answers in 2 specific areas. Users or customers, so who's going to use your product, and then existing solutions. So is there already a solution to the problem you're trying to solve? Could you make a better solution? Here are some sample questions you could ask. Whose problem am I trying to fix? What things have already been made to try to fix the problem? What will I need to learn about to fix this problem? So these are just questions to get you going, but you're really looking at these 2 categories. Users, who's going to use this, and existing solutions. Are there other solutions already? That's in doing your research. Developing possible solutions is a brainstorming phase. If you skip this and design the first solution that comes to your head, you may skip over a better solution. Think of as many solutions as you can and write them down. Okay, in this step, think of as many solutions to the defined problem as possible. This creative idea forming process is called ideation. So here is, I would guess, an earlier image of an earlier design or prototype that they might have made. I actually can't remember what that specific picture is of right now. Okay. Step 4, designing your solution is the step to get critical between the previous step. So in the last step, you thought of as many solutions as you can. In this step, you want to pick one of those solutions and put your design down in some way. Draw it on paper, describe it in writing, make a 3D model on a computer. Now the 5th step is build a prototype. Is when you build a model that shows what the actual invention can do. It also helps you learn about the invention before you actually build it. The Wright brothers built gliders to act as prototypes before building their aircraft. So gliders for them were just like kites that you would put in the air. So they wouldn't go up in them, but they would be able to observe how they did once airborne. It's a pretty straightforward step. You're basically just building a prototype to show what you eventually plan to make. It's not the final invention. Testing your invention or solution to the problem is important. The Wright brothers built a wind tunnel and tested over 200 prototypes of the wings for their gliders. So here's their little wind tunnel they made. They didn't make one that you could fit a car into, but I guess they could fit different shapes of smaller versions of the prototypes of their wings in there, and then they could look through there on the top, turn the fan on, and see how it did. And if you think about that, they did 200 different tests. Think about that. 200 times, or assumably 199 times at least, it failed. And I would not want to be in the air with wings that were going to fail on one of those 199 first times. So it's a very important step. Evaluate your solution is the last step in the engineering design process. Evaluating your solution is where you question everything. Questioning everything is important here. Does the invention solve the original problem? How well does it work? Could it work better? What about it does not work? Those are some sample questions you could ask when evaluating your solution. So in this case, you'll look at the final product and you'll think, or you'll look at your prototype and think, what about this could be better? What about this is not working? And that will lead you to fix those problems and come up with a better solution. And this really demonstrates that this whole engineering design process is an iterative, I'm not saying it right, process. It's a looping process in which you want to go ahead and if you build a prototype and you realize it's not going to work there, you want to go back and do some more research and come up with another possible solution. If you go ahead and you're testing it and you realize, oh man, this flotation device that I made is not going to work, you want to go back and design a new solution, or maybe go back and do more research and understand why it's not working right. And that all happens, that comes down when you're evaluating your solution and you're thinking through, how could this be better? Does this work? All right, those are all the steps, the 7 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, to the engineering design process that we are using in school. If you want to learn more about the Wright brothers and how they did that, you can do so here. And then you can click right here on the engineering design process Google Form quiz, and it will take you to the quiz. All right, if you get 100% on the quiz, you're all good. If you do not get 100% on the quiz, make sure that you retake it. Make sure that you study these slides again, maybe watch this video again with my annoying voice, until you understand it well enough that you can take that quiz and pass that quiz with 100%. If you pass it with 100%, you are done this week's STEM work. Thank you.